Hello, everybody. Welcome to my channel, baby. We are sounding the alarm again. This man up here is a teacher at a high school, and he broke down in tears because the high school students, they can't read. They can't read. He said they couldn't even fill in 4 words. Now, his name is Darius, and there are people who are claiming that he's some type of scammer, and now he's teaching. I don't know all his history, but his tears were real. You know, when I was younger, they used to say kids are the future, and that's very, very true. There's a crisis all over America where a lot of students cannot read or write. And let's keep it real, a lot of them are black and brown. Brown is Hispanic. It could be Indian, Asian. But even though a lot of Asians/Indians tend to do very well in science and math, but that's something that a lot of people are not really talking about. They're not mentioning a lot of the race of the students, because it's true that it's a lot of students of various different races all across America. But this has been a problem for a long time. Back in, I'm a millennial. Back when I was younger, there were students who couldn't read. I'm a millennial. And my mom told me, baby, during the early 1960s that she saw this in school where they were reading at a kindergarten level, probably almost in middle school or something like that. So it was absolutely ridiculous. This is not a new thing with children in America not being able to read. It's just reaching the point of no return. So I want to show you some clips of what people are saying. I want to show you what he said about the students. They cannot read or write. He had mentioned in the video that a number of them were also, a lot of them were black and brown. That part is not in the video, but in the longer video, he says that the truth is that all kids matter. All kids need to do well. Okay, but this is a very real issue. Also, I want to show you this. Okay, Dr. Claude Anderson, he said many years ago, not 3 years ago, he said that the Black American race is going to be a permanent underclass. And if you think not being able to read and write is not a part of that problem, you have lost your mind. And I don't want anybody coming up on here trying to pretend like this is not a big problem with black children. I'm not saying that it's only black children who cannot read and write, but this has been a problem with black children for years. So, okay, because a lot of people don't want to mention it. The race of the children, I'm saying it in my video. Okay, that's gonna make us end up being, excuse me, let me not get emotional, a permanent underclass in America. Let me just be quiet. I want you to look at this. Look at this.
I have seniors who simply cannot read and seniors who cannot write. I'm teaching seniors. These kids are leaving high school and going to college, hopefully, after they finish. They cannot write. They can reason. They have the ability to defend their reasoning if it's talking to their homeboy, but applying that to a written text, 2 paragraphs, and they couldn't do it. Our young black men, our young brown men, our young black girls, and our young brown girls. Oh, God.
Read that in this car for me.
She wore a suit, clothes that were, who's this for? Extraordinary, but somewhat Gertrude?
Now explain what that means.
I don't know.
She wore a sahalat of clothes that were extraordinary, whatever, bro, but somewhat gooch.
What does that mean?
She wore a lot. Wait, she wore, bro, I don't know, bro. Can you take the card back, please?
She wore a, oh baby. She wore a silhouette of clothes that were, bitch, I don't know that word. I don't even know how to read. I don't know why I do.
She wore a silhouette of clothes that were extraordinary, but somewhat gauche.
All right, now what does that mean?
I have no idea. Like his clothes is nice or something like that.
She wore a, I don't know what this shit say. I don't know what this shit say. I don't know what this shit say.
Can't read it. Can't read it. Can't read it.
The beneficiary tried to ambush the extortion scheme.
What does that mean?
I don't even know. I can't say that. Tried to ambush the extortion scheme.
What does that mean?
I don't know. The university student procured an off-campus accommodation via the platform Unishack. Unishack does that?
I'm teaching seniors. These kids are leaving high school and going to college, hopefully, after they finish. We had 2 paragraphs to read, 1 sentence, complete to write. I gave them the sentence stems. I basically completed the sentence for them in the model. These are 17 and 18-year-old kids, and they couldn't fill in 4 words.
You know, this entire discourse over Darius Cook's viral video on his 3rd day of teaching opens up a very interesting conversation. And whether you like Darius Cooks or not, is he speaking the truth? That's the real question. Because in my opinion, the literacy gap in the United States was already in place, and then something happened 4 years ago that introduced a significant threat to the foundation of learning, and that is ChatGPT or AI. I mean, think about it. If ChatGPT is giving your kids an entire well-written essay, it skips right over writing skills. It takes the place of the critical process of drafting, revising, and organizing your own thoughts. The whole idea of learning is to develop critical thinking skills. We see it every day on this app. So a lot of these kids are not actually learning. What they're doing is just generating a well-written product from AI with absolutely no comprehension of the material. And then when you combine that with school administrators that only focus on numbers because numbers equate to funding, that's why we're here. And let's not leave out the parents, okay? The parents who don't hold their kids accountable. As soon as they get called out on the carpet, the parents run down to the school defending bad behavior. So the teachers are just caught in the middle, okay? They have students who don't want to learn, parents who don't want to hold them accountable, and administrators who only focus on numbers. And that's why the education system in the United States is cooked. Now back to Darius. Chances are he won't be teaching for long because he had his badge showing. He had the school's name on a t-shirt. So that wasn't the wisest way to approach the problem. But at the end of the day, was he wrong though? Was he wrong? Let me know in the comments. Love you. Bye.
The class divide of the future is going to be who can read and critically think and who cannot. Let me explain. What every educator on this app is talking about and what every educator in the field is noticing is a dramatic decline in basic critical reasoning skills and basic literacy skills among students. This is particularly pronounced among high school age students where they're engaging with more complex material and can't grasp basic concepts or manage basic memory about those concepts. And what this is creating is a generation entering the workforce without basic comprehension skills that is going to make it very hard for them to keep and maintain any form of employment.
Now sure is a good time to start thinking about alternative options.
And while I'm on here talking shit, let me go ahead and tell y'all how they're setting y'all kids up to be slaves in the future and y'all don't even give a fuck or realize what the fuck is going on. Y'all cannot trust that y'all are sending these kids to school and that they are just learning whatever the fuck the teacher is teaching them, because a lot of them are not. They can't read. I had a JIT spell language, LANGWIJ, in the 8th grade. Y'all kids struggle to connect the dots, put 2 and 2 together. A lot of them are followers. They're being raised by their... Celine, don't touch my motherfucking phone. Y'all see that? That's my motherfucking cat, my daughter. And you see how I got her ass in line? A lot of y'all parents don't do that shit either, because there's no reason for your kid to come up in my classroom and feel like they could talk to me any kind of fucking way. They gonna just sit there. I give them an assignment to do, or I'm trying to work with them, and you know, we bridge the gap, because they always say, oh, how are you differentiating? How are you reaching those students who are lower level learners? All them motherfuckers are lower level learners. And then, don't get me wrong, you got your bunch. You got your handful that is just like the greatest fucking kids you could ask for. I loved some of my students this year, this past school year. The 24-25 school year was peak for me. I miss my babies. But those, for the majority of it, there's no books in the classroom. A lot of parents don't even realize that. The past 2 years I have taught social studies, we have not had fucking textbooks in the classroom. The kids are not reading. A lot of kids, their English classes, they're barely writing. They don't know what Times New Roman is. They don't know what 12-point font is. They don't understand how to fucking do a current event. Sometimes I would walk in the classroom on bullshit like, you know what? I don't feel like working too hard today. I don't want to work these kids too hard today. They've been doing good for the past 2 weeks. You know, I've worked them up from being able to write 5 sentences to 7. 5 sentences to 7. Then I got them from 7 to 10. I'm like, you know what? They're doing amazing. We're making progress, because one thing teachers have to be able to do dealing with kids who you know are struggling. If I'm supposed to be teaching fucking 8th grade and I get a brood of kids that's on a 4th grade reading level, fuck it. We gonna go from 4th grade to 5th grade. You gotta be okay dealing with kids where they at. But my biggest concern is that parents don't know how far behind and how incapable some of their kids actually are, and how they have this sense of hopelessness that cannot be remedied through classroom teaching alone. I never pushed a child out my cooch, but I'm raising 150 of them per school year with little to no help from the parents. Some of the parents, the ones who listen and cooperate and genuinely care to show up to the meetings and want to know how their babies are doing, y'all keep it up. I know y'all tired. I know a lot of y'all are single parents working more than one job, sometimes more than 2, and you doing what you got to do, but you still show up. You still answer the fucking phone, still getting back to emails. Hey, John is not okay. The past couple of weeks he has been sleeping in class. He don't want to do his work. He stopped turning in his assignments. He stopped engaging in conversation. It's hard being a parent. I understand that. I do. But y'all have to understand that they are setting y'all kids up for failure in the fucking future. Everything is, the kids are relying on AI. They're learning from social media. They're learning from their peers who, it's the blind leading the blind. The amount of conversations I have heard in my classroom, and these kids swear that they are so fucking correct and like have the greatest idea, and it's the dumbest shit I've ever heard. And I don't have no problems telling the kid that was dumb as fuck. Rethink it. Because they're not getting that at home. A lot of their parents don't pay attention to them at home. You can always tell when a kid is always in your face. Miss F, Miss E, Miss E, Miss E. Hugs, wanting to chat, coming to me for little shit, little dramas that really, listen, this ain't my job, but it is, because there's nobody in their corner. We are literally pushing forth a group countrywide of kids who can't think, who can't read, who can barely function without supervision and assistance. So who's to say that when they get older and get desperate and get on the job market and it's nothing for them and they struggle, that they just not going to take any and everything that is offered to them, whether it's good, bad, ugly, treacherous. They can't think. They're not getting that early boost of conversation and intellect at home. And as one person in a class of 30 plus kids, I can't sit there and try to work through every fucking problem with every kid in my classroom that has no regarding to do with my my curriculum. But I try. Get it together.
Instead of getting on the internet and crying for 2 minutes and 48 seconds, why don't you spend time attending your Dining with Darius events? Instead of advertising an event, taking people's money and not showing up, you still out here scamming people? I flabbergasted, to say the least, because I'm looking like, I know that's not who I think it is. Is teaching a side gig now on top of the dining events that you don't attend? Like the one in Baltimore last weekend? Y'all, watch this.
I really wish I was an influencer because my friends and I spent a lot of money for this event. And what's crazy is I've been looking up on TikTok for the last 2 weeks details, and it's not a whole bunch. Dining with Darius is a no. You drop, he drops the location, time, and place because it's exclusive and it's a limited dining experience the day of the event. And I'm sitting here in my car the day of the event at 7 p.m. No information's been dropped. No location, no time. It's dinner time and it's still nothing dropped. You don't respect people. You don't want to keep your word. And I personally understand that stuff happens. I mean, we all switched our days. My one friend works an hour away, changed. I canceled my nighttime clients. All to do this culinary journey. 7-course meal by celebrity chef. And you've not sent anything. So even if you were going to cancel, you could have sent something yesterday, this morning. Life happens. I wish I was an influencer, but you know what? TikTok is good about getting this to the right audience. Dining with Darius is a no. I hope he sees this because I definitely have time. Don't do that. Don't waste people's money. We're actually supporting you. We wanted to sit with you and dine with you. You said we could bring containers. Here's my container. Like, really? Really? So, no. Anybody else had an experience? Yeah, you can comment, can say what you want, and they better refund that money. Disgusting.
So I just got blocked by some popular content creator after I commented on her video that she posted. She said that her child went to school and he came back home with his shoes untied. And she's like, why are the teachers not helping him tie his shoes? Then she said she looked at his Capri Sun. It had hella holes in the Capri Sun because he didn't know how to open the Capri Sun. She was like, why did the teacher help him? Then she posted a picture of the ravioli. He couldn't open the ravioli. What can your child do? Why are you not helping him do the basic steps so he can get to school, open up the lunchbox, and eat his food? Why does the teacher have to go around to all the kids and open? That's not how it works. No, you need to teach your child basics before they get to school. You can help. You're a mom. You're a parent. That's what you're supposed to do. Then she was like, are you a parent? I'm not a parent, but I have common sense. This is something that you should have as a parent. So I was like, now I'm questioning why you're a parent. Because what are you doing? Why are you not prepping your child for school? This is not daycare. This is school. They're here to teach your children education, not baby them. This is why teachers are quitting. This is literally why. Mind y'all, I have a bachelor's degree in human development and family studies. I did multiple years in my internship watching children, studying children to see how they develop. And majority of the time, it's the child's parents' fault. All the time, every time.
Let me give y'all the real truth what them teachers deal with in these students. See the student that sit at this desk right here? Undiagnosed ADHD. The student that sits here, that's Miss America. On point from head to toe, but sitting at this desk criticizing everybody. See the students that sit here? Parents are in jail. These students are dealing with a lot. The student that sits here lives with domestic violence. The teacher dealing with a lot too. The student that sits here is being bullied. Let's talk about the student that sits here. Has undocumented family member. Y'all, you see the student that sit here cares for a sick family member. I said sick. Let's talk about the student that sit here. Teacher shows favoritism because she's scared of him. See this one here? She's scared of this one here. He run the class. Let's talk about this one here. LGBTQ and rejected by his family member sits right there. This one right here lives with his grandparents. Let's talk about this student right here is in foster care. The student right here works to help support the family. You see this student right here? This is the black sheep of the family that sits right here. You see the student that sits right here? Mom is an alcoholic. The student that sits right here, y'all, my point, what I'm trying to say, all these students has a story to tell. And remember this, the teacher have to deal with all these different spirits. Molesting, has undocumented, they have to deal with all that, y'all. For real, just real talk, that's it.
Don't beat me up when I say this, but we've been saying that kids can't read. We've been saying that for years, that kids can't read. So I don't know if it's been going over y'all heads. I don't know if y'all have IEPs too. And I don't know if the teachers that are joining the teacher force now have IEPs. I don't know, maybe y'all are a little late. But babe, teachers been saying that we've been in a literacy crisis. So I don't understand why there's any shock value to what's going on in the world. I think people need to be focused on not showing their badge and their classroom on the internet and breaking FERPA laws. But kids not being able to read, babe, that is a dead horse topic. That's why everybody doesn't need to be doing teacher content. I'm not one to take anybody down. Shut up and teach. Have a good day.
I literally broke down in the middle of class because I'm teaching seniors. These kids are leaving high school and going to college, hopefully, after they finish. We had 2 paragraphs to read, 1 sentence complete to write. I gave them the sentence stems. I basically completed the sentence for them in the model. These are 17 and 18-year-old kids, and they couldn't fill in 4 words. This is only day 2, and I have seniors who simply cannot read and seniors who cannot write. Our young black men, our young brown men, our young black girls, and our young brown girls.
This is what happens when you tell them that education is white, that success is white, that hard work is white. This is what happens when you tell them that they are oppressed victims because of the color of their skin, and it's an obstacle that they can't overcome. This is what happens when you basically teach them that trying to be better and to succeed isn't even worth it, and that the best thing they can do with their time is to hate and blame white people for everything. These are all lies, of course, but they were invented by white liberals when they could no longer enslave black people physically, so they had to enslave this community psychologically. And unfortunately, far too many people and far too many households in the black community have gone along with these lies, much to the detriment of their own children and their own communities. And this teacher is understandably heartbroken for them, knowing that they were held down and held back by all of these lies, and that it could have been drastically different for these kids had someone taught them and cared about them and pushed them and held them accountable along the way. It's not that this isn't fixable, but it's going to be a lot harder, and he knows that, and it's absolutely tragic. Don't let anybody ever tell you that your skin color determines what you're capable of. They are lying to you, and they are vile if they're trying to get you to believe that.
I'm pretty sure a lot of you are familiar with Darius Cooks. Very popular, successful chef, cook, does videos across social media, cooking videos, things like that, got his own product line and stuff. Well, he got into teaching, and He broke down on video because he said simply these kids can't put 4 words together. They struggling with literacy. And he said basically in the video that he gave them the answers to what they were trying to do. They had to fill in 4 words. 4. And they couldn't even do that. This goes back to what I was speaking about earlier when it comes to it starts at home. People seem to think that, you start teaching your kids or kids start learning when they get to school. I've seen with my own 2 eyes, 6, 7-year-olds don't even know they can't spell their name. Can't do nothing. By the time they get to school, that's the first time they done read something or pick up a book. It starts at home, y'all. My daughter's 3, she's about to be 4. We reading books now. I'm making sure, I'm getting her hands together at 3 years old to know how to write her name now. To do certain things and to get acclimated. And you can't send your kid out there to school raw. Y'all ain't sitting down at the table reading with your kids. You ain't having them write their ABCs. At least you ain't having them do reading and comprehension. What do you think that means? I do it with my daughter. We just do it every once in a while just for fun. I'll read her a book and then ask her, what you think about it? What you think it means? Even if it ain't right, I want you to at least get your mind geared to critical thinking and about what it means. But the problem is, a lot of parents not taking that time with their kids before they even get to school. Then by the time they do start school, then you got to do 2 or 3 years worth, 2, 3, 4 years worth of work to get them back to base, to get them at baseline. But you know what? It's just crazy how, and he said these were seniors. These were high school seniors. These were kids getting ready to go off to college. And they couldn't even fill in the sentence. This is a deeper problem, y'all. So if you got kids, even high school kids, it ain't too late. Get with them, talk with them, especially if they freshmen. Get it now, nip it now. Nip it now. Because simple reading, writing, and simple comprehension. And people want to blame phones and tablets and stuff, but look, man, it's your job as a parent. It ain't the school job. It's your job as a parent, in my opinion, to make sure that your kids are not as immersed in technology as they are in their education. Ooh, 4 words? Can you put 4 words together? Jeez.
Had
this is heartbreaking.
2 paragraphs
it really is.
to read, 1 sentence complete to write. I gave them the sentence stems. I basically completed the sentence for them in the model. These are 17 and 18-year-old kids, and they couldn't fill in 4 words. 4 words annotated together. I gave them the answers before we even had the problem. And they couldn't do it.
This is a teacher that cares. This is a teacher that cares more about children and his career than getting paid. Because you do have teachers out there that simply can't survive off the pay. Make no mistake, people, our teachers are very much underpaid, okay? And they're dealing with some of the most rudest children of our lifetime, right? But I don't blame them either. Here's the thing. Elon Musk said something a few months ago. He said in the next 5 years, artificial intelligence, AI, is going to be to a point to where it simply thinks for us on a day-to-day basis, right? Skylink for Terminator is going to be a real thing. We all predicted in 20 years, but it's going to be something big in the next 5 years, right? And once that happened, my generation, old millennials, is going to be the last generation to remember how to write in cursive, right? How to subtract and add and all of these things, okay? Because we're going to have computers thinking for us, right? This is a disaster. Who do we blame? Do we blame social media? Do we blame influence? Do we blame technology? What do we blame? Okay, now you have some people out there that like to homeschool their children, but and that's fine, that's great. But at the end of the day, eventually they're going to be exposed to this type of shit, right? In terms of artificial intelligence, you can try your best. You know, this is sad. This is sad because especially in the inner city, and especially in the inner city school, public schools, even private schools nowadays, they don't teach anything. And it's not so much the teacher's fault. It's what's been approved is the problem. And that has always been an issue because even with me being in public school, in my high school and junior, it was so much teachers can actually teach. It's a lot of things that teachers really want to teach, but it's so much they can get away with, right? Because the school district, right, or the board of education, whatever that's been not approved, right? We can understand that a lot of our public school books have things that are either overly exaggerated or things are left out, right? I mean, I can go down the line. If you really want to care and educate yourself, you don't really understand until, you grow up and you start researching things that come to find out the things that was taught to you in high school or public school was inaccurate. But we do have, the thing is, these children nowadays, they do not have engagement skills. They cannot interact whatsoever, man. Whatsoever. My previous job, I was exposed to a lot of children. They have no manners. And it's not a color thing. It's black, white, Asian. I mean, everyone, and make no mistake, people, this is a global thing. It's just happening more here in America, if that makes sense. No manners, no thank you, no welcome, hello, good morning. They have like this dull face impression. It's like, man, this is sad, man. This is really sad. Imagine being in a career where and I know many people are dealing with this now, even with just AI, but imagine being in a career where the career no longer need you, need you. No matter how much this teacher sit here and cry and try to fight every day to teach his kids, teach these children, AI is here. These kids are to be 17 and 18 years old. I'm gonna be honest, it's too late for them. It's too late. They already exposed to just BS. It's very, very hard to try to, get an 18-year-old child, make an 18-year-old child understand. This is devastating.
Meanwhile, while y'all arguing in the comments, bashing each other, bashing me, because yeah, y'all been bashing me too. I need to show you something. And it's really important because our kids are suffering right now. And I'm under the weather today. I'm really sick. I mean, literally been throwing up, and I had no intention of getting on here and saying something. And maybe after you watch this video that I'm about to show you, you'll understand why I set my video format, that I changed it to text on screen, because I did it for a reason. But watch this clip and I'll be right back.
I am on my lunch break. It is, 11:30 or something like that. And I just finished a 3-hour class. We have what's called block, and block is where first and second periods are combined for subjects that need it. And so I literally broke down in the middle of class because I'm teaching seniors. These kids are leaving high school and going to college, hopefully, after they finish. We had 2 paragraphs to read, 1 sentence complete to write. I gave them the sentence stems. I basically completed the sentence for them in the model. These are 17 and 18-year-old kids, and they couldn't fill in 4 words. 4 words. I gave them the scenario. We annotated together. I gave them the answers before we even had the problem. And they couldn't do it. I don't know. I simply don't know where the problem is. This is only day 2. And I have seniors who simply cannot read and seniors who cannot write. They cannot write. They can reason. They have the ability to defend their reasoning if it's talking to their homeboy, but applying that to a written text, 2 paragraphs, and they couldn't do it. Our young black men, our young brown men, our young black girls, and our young brown girls oh, God.
Okay, now let me talk to you because we need to talk because I got to get some shit off my chest right now. This is why I'm on y'all asses about reading. You know what? Short form video can give you some great ideas, but it cannot replace the fact that you need to be able to annotate, reason, and process a contract. You need to be able to plan property, well, if it's travel or relocation. These kids, it's 17, 18 years old, and they can't read. It's a lot of y'all out there that aren't really reading and are refusing to read because you prefer, and I said prefer, short form videos. This is why a lot of my content is text on screen for that very reason. Because in my business, if you do not read, if you do not understand the context, if you do not process the information, you will be fucked up. I'm just saying, I'm just going to call it like it is. You could call me mean, nasty, whatever. Because today I'm not in the mood. Like I said, I've been literally bent over the toilet most of the day. But I had to say something about this because this teacher, because basically I'm a teacher. That's basically what I am. I've taught college. I've taught beauty school. I've taught high schoolers. So I can speak on this. You know, our kids are in trouble. And I'm not saying everybody has not done their part when it come to their kids. I know I've done my part. I've done my part. My son can read, write, reason, and I gave him the freedom to formulate ideas on his own and determine what he thinks about it. I've never forced any of my opinions or ideas. Have I made suggestions? Absolutely. And left it up to him whether to take the suggestion or not. And he learned a valuable lesson when he lost his job, when he got laid off at Vans. Because when I told him, look, let them know that you want to be part of the team, he turned around and interpreted as, I told them, oh, I want more responsibility. I was like, that's not what that means. And then by the time he communicated it, it was too late. But he's fortunate because I've taught him how to network and I've taught him how to work a room. And I know, and I've always told him, a closed mouth don't get fed. Okay? Even in my industry, and I'm about to tear up because I got a lot going on in my life. Y'all see me functioning like everything is okay. And I'm telling you, I'm going through it too right now. Mental health wise, oh, I know all of us are going through it right now. That includes me too. So don't think because I'm functioning and I appear well, I'm doing okay. I got my own stuff going on. But getting back to this, you need to make sure if you have kids, they're reading, buy them books or something, take that phone away. Yeah, I think it's social media, combination of social media, being on the phone, and video games. And that's my opinion. You can agree to disagree on that. But one thing I have to say, my son, he had the beauty of growing up with and without social media. But one thing I made sure he did was read. I made sure I was his advocate all throughout school. My son has a processing deficit. I learned differently too. And every time some shit popped off at that school, who was there? I was there. I was his advocate. It was one time where the history teacher failed all 7 classes. All 7. I'm like, hold up. That's a problem here. All 7 failed? Nah, dog, something's wrong with something you doing ain't getting through to them. And I went up in that classroom and I interrogated him like I was an attorney. Then I called for an IEP meeting. One thing I did not play is I did not play about my kid. He had been through enough trying to survive, damn near died on me, okay? But let me tell you something. As parents, it is your responsibility to make sure your child reads, writes. Don't be leaving it up to the teachers. They only have so much time with them. They spend the majority time at home, and it should be your responsibility. These kids didn't ask to be brought into this world. You decided to have a kid, so you need to uphold the responsibility of making sure your kid has what it needs. You know, I was on my own. I was raising kids at 9 years old. But let me tell you something. This is the reason why I do text on screen on my videos now, because grown folks don't read. One thing I'm not about to do is spoon feed you information. That's the reason why I created that private brief. And it's funny, not very many people downloaded that. I can count on one hand how many people downloaded that private brief. I have information in my hand because I read, because reading is fundamental. Okay? So, you know, y'all can call me unprofessional and all that stuff. Y'all could say whatever you want to say. But I'm going to get my point across today. Because our kids are hurting. And we need to stop being in these comments, putting each other down and putting the creator down like me. Because it made you feel some kind of way. We need to start paying attention to our kids. One thing I can say, when I came here to California from Atlanta, and I used to get compliments on my kid, because what I've experienced out here, and I'm not saying all, a lot of these kids that I'm around in my complex right now, they ain't got no, they don't say yes or no, sir. Excuse me, pardon me. No manners. I could be walking on my nightly walk and I'm like, excuse me, pardon me. That starts at home. I've had one man to come out of the 7-Eleven, say, is that your son in there? And I'm like, yeah, what'd he do? Oh no, y'all must not be from here. And I'm like, no. He said, yes, sir, thank you. Excuse me, pardon me. I said, yeah, we from the South. I don't play that. This world is not the same when we grew up. And I'm Gen X. And we were on our own. And I know I'm on my soapbox right now. But for a teacher on the second day crying because these kids can't even read or write, yeah, I'm upset too. Because one thing I'm not about to do is deal with some of y'all booking appointments with me and you don't get the context of what I do. And I'm not about to explain it to you, and I'm not about to spoon feed it. That's the reason why the videos got text on screen. And if you're interested in relocating, investing in a property or whatever, I suggest you need to read. Download that free brief, keyword free, and read the 27 pages so you can better understand what I do, because I am not about spoon feed you the information. Like I said, reading is fundamental, and everything, all the tools are located in the bio. And that's the post.
Man, listen to this brother's plea about his students and their literacy problems that's coming up. Broke my heart.
So I am on my lunch break. It is, I don't know, 11:30 or something like that. And a 3-hour class. We have what's called block, and block is where first and second periods are combined for subjects that need it. And so I literally broke down in the middle of class because I'm teaching seniors. These kids are leaving high school and going to college, hopefully, after they finish. We had 2 paragraphs to read, 1 sentence complete to write. I don't know. I simply don't know where the problem is. This is only day 2. And I have seniors who simply cannot read and seniors who cannot write. Our young black men, our young brown men, our young black girls, and our young brown girls
Here's the problem. Follow along if you know exactly where I'm going. First problem, No Child Left Behind Act. Second problem, parent participation. The third problem is going to be a combination of underfunded schools and underfunded teachers, because the teachers that really care, you got to make sure you're paying them pretty good. Now, most of y'all are probably saying, well, Will, how did the No Child Left Behind Act of 2002 that was enacted by George W. Bush is a problem today? Well, count back. What is this, 2026? 2002. Those were the parents of some of these kids today. They were not left behind on a lot of the stuff that they should have been left behind on, which got pushed through the system and then didn't learn what they should have learned themselves. That one problem created a vacuum of a generation that was fast-tracked to be unsuccessful in a lot of ways. When you add all these 3 things up, this first one, the fact that parenting and actually going to student teacher conferences and actually keeping an eye on what your kid's doing, a lot of parents are not doing, creates a problem in itself. Bottom line, if you were dropping your child off and hoping that the school was going to tell you any and everything is going to go on with your child from passing to failing, you basically dropped the ball. Because a lot of those times that communication was passed between student, teacher, and the parent on those student parent teacher conference meetings that those chairs are always empty on. And we all know what I'm talking about. Them chairs be emptied in the mug. Add that to the teachers that have filled up classrooms that do not really get one-on-one time a lot with students that really need the extra help, ends up in a lot of problems that you see when it comes to these illiterate stories. Fact, once the teacher realizes the parent doesn't really participate with their child's learning and actual future, then the teacher stops doing it as much. And we're only talking about good teachers. The bad ones are a problem in themselves, because as a parent, you have to be consistent with your child's upbringing because you got to catch the problems that the teachers are creating or letting slide by. The bottom line is our educational system is so jacked up in this country. It's like, what do we have a curriculum for if we're going to keep releasing people from school to turn their tassels to fail in life? Makes no sense.
Y'all not gonna believe me, but the teachers are crying themselves home. Teachers are getting in their cars and they're crying on the way home. Teachers are getting home and they're crying because of this job. I just thought y'all should know that, okay? Not me. I'm not one of those teachers that cry and that has allowed my job to make me cry. I've not gone that far. It hasn't been very stressful, absolutely. But there are some teachers that cry when they leave work. They're crying because of the demands of the job. They're crying because there's very little support in their classrooms. They're crying because they're getting blamed for literally any and everything that children are doing, that they absolutely have no control over. The teachers, they don't have control over these children's behavior. They don't have control over the fact that the child does not want to learn. And they're not doing anything and putting forth effort. They're crying because they actually care more than the child and their parent. And the stress is just getting built up. So yeah, I just thought you guys should know. I didn't know if you guys knew that. Teachers are crying when they leave work.
Okay, so that's the videos. I want to know, what do you think? A lot of you are blaming the parents, and it's true. A lot of it does start at home, but I had said in my video, a lot of people refuse to acknowledge that a lot of people who cannot read or write have been having children. And that's why they can't even help their kids with their schoolwork, because they don't understand it. Then you have women who are single mothers, they're not even home. And shout out to one of my subscribers that also mentioned that. It's very true. You have a single mother at work all the time. Who the hell is raising her kids because she's at work? Then you have them on social media, on the phones, or let's say the parent or parents can read, but you're not reading to your children. You know, when I was little, my mama used to read Dr. Seuss books to me. Okay, a lot of people are going to clubs, getting their hair done, getting outfits and sneakers, spending over $300 when you could use that money to invest in a local tutor for your child. Okay, so it is very serious, because if you have a lot of people who are in positions of power in the future who cannot read or write, what do you think this looks like for you too? They're going to be taking care of you. They can't even read the correct dosage or understand the correct medicine, the dosage to give you, the medicine. Okay. You also, your daughters. Who are your daughters going to marry if a lot of their men cannot read? That's disgusting. How can you compete as a country against other countries that's more educated, and your nation is being run by a bunch of people who cannot read or write? Baby, this is serious. So I want to know what you all think. Let us know in the comments section. It's a mixture. It's the parents' fault. It's some of the teachers' fault for passing them, but they had to under the quotas and the No Child Left Behind. It's also a lot of the parents, again, cannot read themselves. You have people reproducing that's causing these problems too, who cannot, I don't even have to say it. So it's a mixture going on. Okay, it's one thing if you can admit, okay, I can't read or write. I had these children. I'm going to do everything possible to give them tutors or something to help them. So we can, a free class at the library or something to read something, helping them. Okay, so let me know what you think about this in the comments section, okay? I want you to please like, share, and subscribe, and I will talk to you all later.